As the government shutdown drags on, flight delays are piling up, impacting travel nationwide. There were nearly 5,000 flight delays on Sunday alone, with some airports, including LAX and Nashville, issuing ground stops over the weekend due to staffing shortages.
Hundreds and hundreds of people waiting.
While New York City warning travelers there could be schedule changes, gate holds, and missed connections. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy acknowledging the impact on travel, saying he thinks it will only get worse.
And we will slow traffic down. You'll see delays. We'll have flights canceled to make sure the system is safe.
The FAA already has a critical staffing shortage of air traffic controllers who have been working without pay during the shutdown.
They need support. They need money. They need a paycheck.
Travelers expressing their frustration.
It adds a lot, and it adds a lot of stress because you're trying to make connections.
Lately, just some of the logistics with everything with the shutdown, it gives you a little bit of concern.
You're like 4 hours ahead of their flight, hoping to have better luck. Several airlines say they do not compensate for you missing your flight because of long TSA lines. We're following that on KH11 News.
So just in case folks think that this is AI, I don't know where people are getting that from, but the government shutdown has a lot to do with anything federal, okay? FCC, the FAA, is your Federal Airlines Administration, and if people are not getting paid, they will not show up for work. Simple as that. Now, this one was from 29 minutes ago, flight 1324 or 1234, flying from Denver to Dallas-Fort Worth, has been grounded in Texas due to a note being found in the bathroom stating that there was a bomb on the plane. Let's take a listen.
Oh, yeah. In the laboratory saying that there was a BOMB on the plane, and we have been on the plane for 40 minutes. So, yeah, it doesn't seem like there's a real... Okay, and Kelly Angel, I have the most anxiety. Like, I'm the worst about anxiety. However, I already took my medicine before this situation, so otherwise I wouldn't be able to talk to you guys. Device, be careful. Well, Gina, I think I will get off just as soon as they open the door, but until then I'm stuck. But I'm with you on that. We are on the ground. We have landed, and we're on what I'm told is an emergency landing strip. So, yeah. Yeah, they can't hide. There's no way. It's just the most juvenile thing that I've ever heard of.
All right, let's take a look at the bank news. This is from one day ago. Navy Federal Credit Union outage halts debit cards. On November 2nd, a technical outage at Navy Federal. Okay. 6 days ago, regional banks have borrowed over $33 billion from the Fed in the last few months and $14 billion in the past week alone. Okay. 38 minutes ago, German bank appears to be failing. Deutsche, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. Are having problems, okay? German banks. 10 minutes ago, banks are in trouble. 223 trillion hidden risk in U.S. banks. That is known. Banks creating money out of thin air. Fractional reserve banking. Now they don't even need to hold 10%. Federal Reserve reduced reserve requirements to zero in March 2020. All of this stems back from the planned slamdemic too. If you really think about it, this is something that was planned way back, even before then. You know, you could go decades back that these elites have been planning this stuff. This is an hour ago. There is some liquidity stress in banking system. Repos went to the roof last Friday. Is the Fed coming to rescue? This is what we heard our friendly neighborhood sister talk about, Desiree Townsend. Okay, so bank systems are crumbling. This is from September 25th. So we do know that this is a problem. So engineered shutdown. You can't fly anywhere. You can't go in it. You can't go get money. If that, I mean, banks are still functional, but for how much longer? Okay, the SNAP thing is still an issue, but then there is again a midterm, I believe, on Tuesday. So the Democrats, the Republicans could get their act together by this week. We just don't know. Okay. GOP, NYC, mayor, here we go. Again, mayoral candidate, this is 19 hours ago. Curtis Sliwa warns if Zoran gets elected, life will never be the same. This is what it's all about, folks. This is what it's all about. I'm just reading the headlines, okay? I'm just reading the headlines of what's going on. 14 hours ago, President Trump confirmed that Hamas has returned the body of American hostage Omar Nutra and a New Yorker who served in the IDF. Speaking aboard the Air Force One, Trump said he had personally spoken with his parents. Okay, so that's also in the news. Then what else we have? 20 reasons to vote. See, now you see what I'm saying? All the votes. See, this is what after Tuesday, probably Thursday, when they get all their votes counted, then we'll have the government reopen. 17 hours ago, Fox News, return to Washington. Air Force One takes off from West Palm Beach, Florida, as President Trump heads back to the White House after a weekend at Mar-a-Lago. 18 hours ago, Queens, New York, Democrat Party snubs down Assemblyman. It's all about the vote now, folks. So once this voting finishes up, then we might see the government reopen. But I don't think it's going to help anything. I think the damage has already been done. Of course, then you do have the UFO situation that they continue to pump. When you get one story, you get a bunch of others. Large UFO spotted over Belgium nuclear air base. Again, question mark. Okay. So I'm just going through the foolery. Man cannot save himself. Okay. The Hill discussing David Grush, UFOs and aliens, getting ready for the excuse when the good Lord takes us up out of here. Also, in Afghanistan, they had a devastating earthquake over there as well. You had a magnitude 6.4. Russia is currently off the chain with earthquakes as well. That's Pacific Rim. So, matter of fact, now here we are on the earthquake map. And birth pain still jumping. Significant. But over here in Afghanistan, in the desert area, this is where we've seen significant damage over here. Okay. 20 hours ago, almost yesterday, was a 6.3. These are the aftershocks. Those little squares that you see right there. Aftershocks. Buildings crumble. I can't post those videos here because YouTube likes to call that fake news, even though I'm showing you the videos of the destruction. And then they always like to suspend the channel. Okay, now you got down here, Mexico in between Nicaragua. We got big time activity down there as well, 5.0. So things are still cooking in that pot of beans and neck bones. So we're going to continue to pray. Now, this is the verse of the day coming from Matthew 27, verse 37, 22, Matthew 22, verse 37 through 39. Jesus said unto him, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the first and great commandment. That's not a suggestion. Okay. The second is like unto it. You shall love your neighbor as you love yourself. That's my struggle bus there. Lord, these neighbors is crazy. I might have fentanyl users, dope fiends, about 3 houses down in the suburbs. Or, you know your neighbors and, oh, well, we know this one, he's a drunk. He's always found naked in his tool shed out back. But, Lord, you said you want me to love my neighbors as I love myself. But some of these folks is wicked. Or do I love them with a 100-foot pole? Hey, how you doing? And then that's be about it. Because our neighbors today, this is a struggle. Okay? Love the Lord with everything. But then the second greatest commandment is to love your neighbor. Well, how do I do that? And I know these people, you know, they goofy and they're pet coon. We know that they're crazy. How do you love your neighbor in his craziness, in their craziness? You know, they like to get drunk on Friday night and yell, scream, and holler. Well, you go down there and they already said that they're not into the word. They could care less about. So how do we love our neighbor when you know they're crazy? Okay, just a quick question. Answer that in the comment section. So we know that this is a second commandment. If you know your neighbors is pet coon crazy, but Jesus said to love thy neighbor as you love yourself, how do you do that? This is not a trick question. I just really want to know what would be your answer. Because I know we all got some. I mean, there's some neighbors, though, that you know are cool, okay? But how far is neighbor? Like, neighbor on the right side, neighbor on the left side, neighbor across the street, in that vicinity. What's the radius of a neighbor? Let me know in the comment section.